Alright everybody, it's time for the second video, and I figured I made you guys wait long enough, so here it is. This video, we're going to be focusing on the starting point, the beginning of what we now call rock and roll. It was very different, as you will find out, very different from what we would come to know rock and roll as being in the late 50s up to the mid 60s. But as always, there is a starting point, and it's up to us to find that starting point. So in my research, I found a couple of songs that I figured to be the closest to what we now consider rock and roll. So the first song, it was released in 1951. It was called Rocket 88. It was released by, well, it was written by Ike Turner, and it was performed by Jackie Brenston. I hope I got the name right. It was Ike Turner's saxophone player in his band. So Turner wrote the song, and Brenston performed it entirely. The song can be found on YouTube, and I will link it down below so that you guys can go check it out and leave down in the comment section what you think of it, how it connects, if any ways, to you, to the beginning of what we know as rock and roll. The other contender for the song is called That's Alright Mama. It was an arrangement sung by Arthur Crudup. It was 1954, I believe. Someone down in the comments will inevitably tell me if I'm wrong, please. I will also link that down in my description, so if you guys want to listen to those songs and decide for yourselves. But the consensus of my research is those two songs are considered what would be the first song of the rock and roll genre. I'm gonna go with the consensus because I wasn't alive, and based on what I can hear of the two songs, they sound the most likely candidates. And we're going to move on to why rock and roll is considered rock and roll. Like, why is that the name? And of course, all great stories start with a glass of milk. No, that's a different thing. All great stories start with censorship. Yeah. So, the term rock and roll, as you and I will come to find out, does not necessarily mean rock and roll. So, in 1951, radio DJ Alan Freed, who is basically the father of the rock and roll movement, and definitely the father of the name rock and roll, he began his radio session in 1951. He called it the Rock and Roll Hour. The radio station at which he worked was mainly just a music station that focused on popular music of the time. The radio station manager, Leo Mintz, gave Alan Freed the freedom to play whatever he wanted. It wasn't just play the popular stuff, no, it was play what you want. And so the genre of rock and roll came to be more and more popular because of the playing time on Freed's station. The term rock and roll, in what could be considered the closest approximation to the way we use it now, was started in the late 18th century. And the term was to describe the motion of a ship on the ocean. It rollicking, rolling and rocking and rolling, moving about the waves. So that is the very first connotation of the phrase rock and roll. When the jazz age rolled around in the 20s, it kind of took on a double entendre for behind closed doors activities. Yes, fill in the blank. But it was a very easy way to describe that without being censored. Haha, censorship we got around. And the idea that the double entendre for anything could be used gave rise to the idea that perhaps the method for delivering the genre could be exploited too. And what I mean by that is the double entendre could be given visually and not just auditorially. And if you know where I'm going with this, if you have seen any visuals of rock and roll of the time, I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. Elvis Presley. Yeah, there's no other better way to approximate the physical characteristics of rock and roll than Elvis Presley. He's the first to popularize rock and roll, essentially. We look back on it now in the 2019 era, and it's very tame. Especially if you listen to any music now, but that's not the point. The point is, back in 1955, it was scandalous, and it did help the movement along, but it gave a lot of controversy to the subject, which, in a way, I guess helped it along even further because no publicity is bad publicity, right? And so we have come to the end of the video. Again, sad time, but if we're lucky, if I'm lucky, this video will be one of two this week, and not just one. So that's your first lesson. You go out, listen to the songs, go watch Elvis if you want to. I'm not the biggest fan of Elvis, but I'm trying to be subjective. There will be another video, like I said. I'm going to try and do this camera thing. I don't have the camera situation all entirely worked out yet, but I'm trying, and any suggestions will be greatly appreciated. Yeah, so that's it. I will also link my personal email down in the description. So if anybody has any questions or comments or calm, subtle pushing me into a specific direction for the next video, please go ahead, put that down in your email. I'll link my email in the description. I don't know if I've already said that. But anyway, until next time, you guys go down in the comment section and play nice. I will see you hopefully in 2 days, if not in 7. Alright, I'm out.